Shalom, this is Daniel Stern, and it's been quite a while since we spoke about the Shin Bet and their chief Ronen Bar, and I'll just remind you that Ronen Bar informed the government and the courts and everyone else that was interested that he is resigning from his position on June 15th. Now remember, on April 11th, the government fired him, and immediately a bunch of well-to-do busybodies filed with the High Court all about it, saying that his being fired was illegal and so on and so forth. Now, just a few days ago, the court let out a ruling that the firing of the chief Ronen Bar was illegal, but since he resigned, then the point was moot. Although they wanted to release this ruling anyways just to show who's boss, to show who the dictators of Israel really are, that they're the ones in power, that the government cannot act without their permission. Now, a full 19 minutes after the court ruling came out, almost as if maybe she knew in advance, the district attorney, Gali Baharav-Miara, released a statement that said that the prime minister can't select the next chief due to a conflict of interest with what's known as Qatargate investigation, which of course is nonsense because the prime minister is not being accused of anything in that investigation. But anyways, and it could have easily been solved by saying that the next chief can't deal with that investigation or some other solution. But nevertheless, despite that, the Prime Minister, Netanyahu, released a statement that the government has selected the next GSS chief, and he is General David Zini. And based on the crystal clear law that states that the government are the ones who appoint the Shin Bet chiefs, and no one else. And for that matter, it's the same crystal clear law that says that the government are the one that are responsible for his termination when necessary. His firing was also completely legal. But once again, as if by magic, the DA released within 11 minutes a detailed legal opinion that this appointment is illegal. Such a shame, considering we're waiting for many months and even years for legal opinions about all kinds of actually important things, such as the fabricated leak of material from an investigation of IDF soldiers, which was leaked, and consequently, these IDF soldiers are being blamed for sexually abusing one of the Nukhba terrorists. All over the world, this is used as propaganda against the IDF, despite the leaked footage not even being very convincing and all of it being a sham. But instead of dealing with that, of who would have leaked from within an investigation, she's dealing with her political opinion and trying to curtail the government. But let's talk a little bit about who General David Zini is. So first of all, he is from the religious Zionist movement, meaning he wears a kippah, meaning that the legal junta, the legal gangs of Israel, the courts and the bureaucrats, who are mostly left-leaning liberals from the Tel Aviv area, hate him and do not want him in this position, as they have for many, many years now, even decades, stopped almost all religious generals from reaching the rank of Major General, and certainly not the Lieutenant General, the Chief of Staff, but there are very, very few Major Generals in the IDF. He is one of the very few. But let's see. He released a statement a while back that says he believes that the war between Israel and the Palestinians is a forever war, that we will always live on our swords, that we always need to be prepared for war. He does not believe in the possibility, the falsehood of the wishful thinking of peace processes and Oslo Accords, which have been proven over and over that they are nonsense meant to weaken Israel and have caused thousands to die as a result. He filed in March 23 a report for the IDF saying that the IDF is not ready for invasions from Gaza. So that's a very interesting report, and it's even more interesting that this information on October 8th was not released and he say, "I told you so, look, I was right." It shows to a character that this information only is coming out now when people are looking into what he's done in the past. He's currently serving as the head of the training facilities and military schools. And of course, he will be removed from the IDF due to being chosen to be the head of the General Security Service. Now, I hope that Netanyahu and the government will finally push forward with something, unlike many times in the past, for example, the firing of Ronen Bar himself, which even though they claim to have fired him on April 11th, he's still serving at his pleasure and his leisure, and that is, of course, not the way it's supposed to be. I hope that they will push forward despite the opposition by the legal gangsters that are running the country, unfortunately. And what's funny is they're now complaining that this appointment is illegal, but they're forgetting that the head of the Supreme Court, Justice Amit, was appointed very illegally, that the committee that was supposed to vote on whether he got appointed was illegally gathered. The law states that the justice minister is the only one who is responsible for gathering that committee, and he refused to do so. So they just went around him and gathered without him, and the vote was 6-0 because 3 people didn't participate in the committee, not to mention ignored all the many complaints against him regarding his biases and his illegal buildings in his personal home that were done without permits, and so on and so forth. So even if the head of the Supreme Court, who was elected in a illegal committee, is seen by the leftist liberals as fair and legal and democratic, then they shouldn't have any problems with this blatantly legal decision. But anyways, that's enough about that for now. Briefly, just a few small updates from Gaza before we end this somewhat shorter than usual video today. The negotiations have completely ended for now. The negotiations in Doha, both parties have stopped and have returned to their homes. The IDF is ramping up Gideon's Chariots, the new operation in the Gaza Strip, and a new food distribution program with a new organization is going to start this week, and we will talk about that and how it will work and who the organization is next video. So for now, as always, if you have comments, please put them down below and we'll discuss them in a kind and polite way. Share, like, subscribe, do everything that you should do, and God bless you all. Shalom.